Welcome into the Casual Gaming Conversation. I'm Connor. That's Nick. This is your weekly gaming podcast from Co-op 64. We got a good episode for you. We're talking Concord. We're talking the 6 essential game series that everybody needs to play. Games you got to play before you die. We're talking series, so make sure to note that we're not talking anything that is like an anthology. So like Zelda, Final Fantasy. I know that Zelda technically has a timeline, but let's be real, it doesn't. Nintendo barely even acknowledges it, especially since Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom really don't. I mean, I guess you could technically draft Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. That's the only one that I'm thinking of. Is there any other ones that have?
Punch. Yeah,
I'm sure there's other ones somewhere in here that have direct sequels. Oh, maybe Majora's Mask.
I'm not even going to attempt to know.
Yeah, I don't know because I only played Ocarina, but I know that they use the same.
Ocarina and Tears and Breath of the Wild. You played more. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Between Ocarina and Majora's Mask. Yes. I was saying. So none of that, but we're talking about series that you can play through and get a full experience, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll be discussing that. I think that's a fun little one-off topic because we're in a down period right now. Not a lot going on in gaming to talk about when it comes to news, predictions. We just did a What You've Been Playing. A lot of people enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. We'll do more of those in the future. I love talking about just games and our experience playing them. So and it seems like a lot of people like those. So we'll do more of those later down the line. But this week we're coming at you with one big major topic and talking Concord. So because the beta is happening right now, open beta will be next weekend. But before we get into that, how you doing, Nick?
Doing well. I got to play a show this weekend up in Notre Dame with my best buddy in the world, Scott. Was on drums, and dude, great show, so much fun. Highlight of the night was playing. There was multiple great songs, great crowd and everything. But for me, We Are Young was the treat. I thought it was When You Were Young, and that was a fun little mix up. And then when I realized it was We Are Young, I was like, never played that one live before, but we're just going to let it ride. The song by Fun is what I'm talking about, which obviously the drum intro for that is beyond iconic at this point.
If you gave me 1,000 chances to do the drum intro, I don't think I could do it.
Really?
I have no idea what it is.
It's give me a second now.
Okay, sorry.
Need to get my
yeah.
So
right.
that's I'm getting to start out. That was the last song we played. So there was a last song, and that was the encore song. And getting up there, I was wearing for just that song the Fortnite crop top and the headband, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is about to be fucking awesome."
This dude fucks.
Yeah, this guy gets around. Because that's the other thing. I'm never going to see these people ever again.
Yeah.
There's maybe 3 or 4 people I'm going to see again in my lifetime, and all those people know about Co-op 64 and the persona that I put online and everything, and the fun I like to have. Because let's be real, I just was trying to have fun, and make the show a little bit better. I did think about doing the straight up 21 Pilots thing and bringing the tom into the middle of the fucking crowd, putting it down and just going crazy with it for the entire song. And I tried to convince the other drummer to be like, if you just lay down the backbeat, this could be just fucking awesome. But once again, there was so many people on stage. I didn't want it to just be the two-shoe show. I wanted everyone to have a great time, and everyone for that song was awesome. And then there was a great moment where we finished that. Everyone's play more fucking music. It's 10 o'clock, and that's what our set time was supposed to end. And then all of a sudden, the guy that did our sound check and owned the place was just hey, the DJ canceled, so you guys want to play some more music? You guys can. And we're like, bet. So then we rolled into 12 more songs, and it was awesome. A lot of great music. Red Wine Supernova was my favorite song I got to play that night, which was during that late night set and everything. A friend came up named Nicole and was just like, do you know this? And I'm like, oh, do I know Chaperone Summer? Are you kidding me? Come on.
Chaperone Summer, Charlie XCX Summer,
Billie Eilish Summer.
Kesha. You hear the Kesha song?
I'm not on the new Kesha track yet.
It's a banger, but I've been told that it's just my For You page being weird that this song isn't necessarily viral. I just keep seeing it.
Oh, great. But a great weekend getting to drive up, and then I got Portillo's yesterday, which was awesome, and then got to play a lot of Concord with Brady and you, and the late night crew kicked in for some Valley games, and I got ranked there. So great weekend thus far. Excited for the upcoming week, the stream slate that we're going to discuss and everything. The housekeeping is lengthy today. It's really exciting. But yeah, great weekend for me. How How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Didn't sleep a lot last night because I went and saw Long Legs with Laura at an afternoon matinee showing. With that movie has Nicolas Cage in it. I almost just wanted to say David Cage. I was like, that's not right. That is the guy who made Heavy Rain. Watched Long Legs in theaters. My first time ever seeing a horror film in a theater, which was strange. Yeah.
For me, that was like every 8th, 9th grade date, type of vibe.
I avoided it like the plague. I even watching stuff at home on DVD or if it was on TV. I
never in high school went on the date and you took the girl to Scary Movie just to put
I didn't. I only had like a couple girlfriends.
Yeah,
in
let's
high
be.
school.
I always did not do that. There was moments where I had people be like, "Do you want to watch something at home?" And I'm like,
and I guess I never had a girlfriend that was really into horror stuff as well.
Yeah,
So.
for me, like I've dated a few people that are into horror stuff, and I'm like, good for you. I'm happy for you. I will not do it unless it's like extremely important to you. Like,
do you can you sleep after a horror film?
Not great, and also I also don't fuck with thrillers. Like anything that raises my heart rate up like a whole bunch.
Thrillers are the ones that I like. I don't like gore.
I cannot do gore.
Saw? No. Well, I saw one's great because that's more of a thriller than people just cutting off body parts.
My thing with Saw 1 is there is that bunch of scenes in a row montage was what I was looking for, where it's like the different Saw killing moments and that's where you get the reverse bear trap for the first time. And there's that one scene where the guy has to like look at the numbers with the match and everything, and he's covered in gasoline. Sorry for people that don't fuck with horror. I don't either. Gave me like complete I just don't like this situation. My heart rate is up. I watched it for Kind of Funny in review when they were doing those, and I just wanted to like enjoy the podcast the next day.
Did you just watch the first one?
I just watched the first one.
Okay.
Because I was like, I
did they do all of them?
They did all the Saws.
That's so weird.
And apparently, the first interview was great. I did listen to I think it was Saw 3 or 4's interview, and it was also just a really fun podcast.
I think Saw is really interesting, as a premise, and I like hearing people talk about it. I don't like watching it myself. It's like, oh, that's fucked up, but I'm never gonna watch that.
I can normally sleep. My whole thing is I did say this. Alan Wake 2 fucked me up. Sleep-wise, where I played that game the day before the Game Awards, so I played 2 different streams. That Sunday I streamed, 6 p.m. rolled around, and I was like, I kind of don't want to leave my house, because I'm like, spooky things are out there. And then the worst one was the Wednesday before Game Awards. I was trying to make sure I played all of the Game of the Year nominees, and I'm going to do that every single year of my entire life to at least play a bit of it to understand what the gameplay is and everything. So that night before, I played Alan Wake 2 before the Game Awards from 10 p.m. after Connor streamed Armored Core 6 to 3:30 in the morning. Shout out General G-Dog who stuck with me through that entire stream. I finished that stream, and then I have to be on camera again at 9:30 I believe was my go time.
And then you were just back into Alan Wake.
And I was back in Alan Wake. That sleep I had for those 5.5, 6 hours was the most nightmare-inducing thing I've ever had. The worst part was I didn't wake up a whole bunch. I just sat in those nightmares. I just was in it for a long time, and it was straight up people just going wake and just but in the most terrifying, surreal way possible. And my biggest fear. Do you know my biggest fear? Tangible fear?
No.
It's getting stabbed.
Oh.
Do you not? Is this news to you?
No.
Oh, I've said
yes,
this many times. And a lot of if I called up Scott or some college friends, they'd be like, Nick is terrified of the idea of getting stabbed. Good with needles, but the idea of a knife going into me. So I'm imagining these shadow people that you see in Alan Wake with knives, just coming after me.
You see, my dreams don't get all fucked up. It's just the act of falling asleep that makes me uncomfortable when because you're so vulnerable. You know what I mean? Your eyes are closed. You don't know what's going on around you. Last night I fell asleep on the couch and Winry was up on the top of the couch and she moved one time and I jumped up. I panicked because I was like, oh crap. That's it.
Do you know the Snowbike Mike stories with this?
No.
So Snowbike Mike, who is an adult that works for Kind of Funny, I just want to preface, this is an adult man. He works for the company Kind of Funny, who's game pundits and everything, and he's fucking awesome. We love him so much. He 24/7 has ESPN on at night because the spooky things are out there. He's they can't get me if I got ESPN top 10 going on.
It's so funny
because
but
it's real. I get it.
Yeah,
And they're just having being in your apartment in the quiet of the night, it's interesting.
It's like how letting your foot out of the blanket.
Totally.
You can be like, oh, something can grab me now.
Yeah.
I'm vulnerable, but you have your foot under the blanket. Nothing's
Totally
touching
safe,
you. You're
dude.
totally safe.
Yeah, there was a moment where like I was younger and I woke up with my arm like off the bed and everything else, so it's just like dangling, and I'm like, oh, something's gonna grab me, but I'm like,
Right.
nothing. If something wanted to grab me, could have grabbed me throughout the entire fucking night, I guess. But yeah, this whole conversation is to say the Evans boys are a bunch of weenies. We are a bunch of
I liked
wimps.
it though. I liked the movie. I thought it was great. It was very effective in frightening me during it. I just like have I struggle with removing myself then from that feeling. You know what I mean? I just feel on edge, and then I start thinking about it, and then I'm like, I'm scared, and then and then I like try to go back to being like having a normal day. But I definitely have gotten way better about it. Back in the day, I used to like not sleep for a week. I think I will sleep in my bed tonight. I'll be
nice.
Fine. Yeah, I know. That's big time. That's big time.
I bet your wife is gonna be happy to have you.
I'm a 27-year-old man, dude, and I sleep on the couch when I watch a horror movie. It's just so sad.
You have a comfy couch though. That is a sneaky thing, because for me, like, there's multiple moments where like growing up, sleep on the couch all the fucking time.
Right.
With this couch that like you guys see for streams and everything, it is not a good sleep. It is not one you want to take a little cat nap on a Sunday afternoon. For me, like, my naps used to always be on the couch. Like in college, oh man, I would be crashing out on the couch, and then my roommates would have to wake me up and be like, please go to your bed so we can utilize the couch. Yeah, I loved a good couch nap. Now I don't do it at all.
Yeah.
But you want to know what I do often? Get into the rigmarole with my best buddy, Connor Evans. So you want to kick into what we got coming down the line?
Housekeeping, yeah. So if you don't know, we stream on Twitch Monday through Thursday, 7 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. We're playing Uncharted 3 on Mondays. Nick and Brady. Brady's playing it for the first time.
Yeah.
Tuesday, Thursday, the big one. Nick and I are playing Kingdom Hearts 2. Nick's first ever playthrough. Me co-piloting the entire playthrough. So you're going to be seeing me 3 days a week rather than 2.
Yep.
As I am playing Hollow Knight on Wednesdays. It's going to be a lot of fun. We can't wait.
So just a little heads up with this whole scheduling thing. One, Kingdom Hearts 2 streams. This is going to be very special. Like, this is last year, the first game Connor played on stream was Kingdom Hearts on Wednesdays, and going through that experience with Connor was legitimately like one of the most bonding, amazing experiences. As the channel would start to, like, we got our first fans during those streams. Shout out to Dr. Buki Bear, shout out to Alex the Golden for like getting into us before we blew up in any ways. And so like it was really, really special. And so when we decided Kingdom Hearts 2, like, this is one of those things on the channel that we really like Kingdom Hearts. We really like Final Fantasy. So, like, probably once a year, you can expect some sort of content along those lines to come from one of those series with myself, Connor, or Brady. Eventually, Connor, there's going to be a day where we make Brady play Kingdom Hearts 1. That's going to happen.
That'd be funny.
It's going to be a good
Brady's
day.
playing his first JRPG right now.
Yeah.
Ever. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
With Final Fantasy VII Remake.
And, I mean, he's having a good time. I'm just waiting to get the text message from him being like, I beat it. Because I'm going to do the whole thing of, like, ask me all the questions, and then I'm also going to do the thing of, here is the spoiler cast with Max to the Million that is essential viewing after being Final Fantasy VII.
He's not listening to that. There's no way.
I think if you get him on work at a good time, I'm going to be like, I'm going to quiz him. I'm going to be like, did you know this moment? But anyways, this being Kingdom Hearts 2, this being Connor and I back on the couch for the first time in a long time. After Connor, we bought the PC for the company for Connor to be able to stream from home. That was a huge moment to like allowing me to now have a night during the weekdays in my own apartment to either do work or play games or just be off stream. Really great for myself, but also just like great to have Connor not have to drive over and everything. But we missed it. I don't know if Connor's missed it. I think he's enjoyed his
I like my Tuesdays and Thursdays.
He likes your Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
Now we're back on the couch together playing games. There won't be a wheel. Wheels are still just for group stream, but it's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be us broing out and eating sea salt ice cream. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, dude, we should get sea salt ice cream. I've always wanted to try it. It looks so good. I don't even know if it would taste good, but it looks good.
Yeah.
It just looks delectable.
Yeah. I mean, like, for me, the whole thing is I see a blue, like, freeze pop, and I'm like, that looks great. And then you say it's sea salt ice cream. I'm like, I don't like that combination. It's blue and sea salt ice cream.
I've never had a sweet salty thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people like salted caramel or something, and I've never had any of that.
I'm not a huge fan of it, which is why I don't think I would like sea salt ice cream, but that's going to be interesting. I just wanted to say, though, that like when we talk about must-watch shit, I do think that these KH2 streams are going to be
We
must-watch
should talk
shit.
about breaking this out at some point, maybe, potentially.
Yeah, like this is going to be really something else. I might talk to Big Mac or someone who's tried to do supercuts for us in the past and everything without us asking, just being fucking awesome. This could be really special. This is gonna be like 5 or 6 weeks of streaming too. It's gonna be a long adventure. It's like I haven't had a game stream, Connor, in a long time that was 6 weeks long. I went from FF7 to FF9 and I wanted to like pull my hair out because it was like 50 hours each, and that's like 50 hours for me is like 9 weeks of gaming. That's months of playing the same game on stream, and it's hard to keep everyone invested and interested. I think that these streams, even though it's gonna be 5 or 6 weeks of streaming, are gonna still be just fucking elite. Highly, highly, highly recommend stopping in for a Twitch stream Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Right.
Alongside the rest of the slate is still great. Hollow Knight with you has been a blast watching that.
Yeah.
Watching you be legitimately a gamer. Like you're having some good gamer moments.
Yeah, I'm cruising through it, though. I've done some of the challenge bosses that aren't like essential, and I'm getting crushed on it.
Yeah.
I made Allie lose all her money.
Oh really?
because of this.
They were just betting on you big time.
All her channel points. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody, by the way, I believe it is General G Dog. So shout out to him. 2 times in one podcast, dude. He was like, I'm really close to 100K channel points, and Simple and Clean during KH2 is gonna be a blast.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Extra Life coming up. The ramp up to one of the biggest streams of the year. 24 hours of gaming with me, Nick, Brady, Shane, and Braden flying up to be a part of this stream. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're raising money for the Cincinnati Children's Hospital. So it's a charity stream. If you want to donate, that would be awesome. But if you don't and want to just come support and hang out, you can do that as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome for our European audience to have a stream that is happening during the day for us. So it's more timely for you guys. So hopefully you can pop in, hang out. We're going to be playing Halo Reach, 4-player co-op, full playthrough. First time Brady and I playing D&D with Shane DMing for Nick, me, Brady, and Braden.
Bray. Yeah.
So that's going to be a ton of fun. Late night stream. We got the boys buzzing playing Mario Kart, drunk Mario Kart, Mario Kart rather.
Yeah.
Playing NCAA football with Braden and Nick, and then
And honestly, one of the coolest things we're doing is the Astro Playroom Platinum Hunt or race for Brady and I. That's going to be at this point. Here's the thing: I can say this. We don't plan on drinking when we don't have to. Like, that is part of the process. But there are some drinking donation goals. And we're starting this thing at 10 a.m. By the time it's midnight, Brady and I might have had a few beverages. And getting a platinum hunt done with like us being on our laptops and like trying to like make sure we're like knocking off these trophies while being a little bit hammered is going to be fucking hysterical.
I think I used the game cards. You know how there's the hint cards?
Oh, yeah.
I think I used that for the entire thing.
Okay, well, we might rip that then.
Yeah.
But I do want to double back though. D&D. So many people, whenever we bring it up, they're like, "When are you guys doing it?" When like it's actually like August 3rd, starting at 10 a.m. It's gonna be a bit into the stream. It's after Halo. Like, it's going to be awesome. And Shane's putting in a lot of work. We're obviously gonna do our characters beforehand. Like, there's so many streams that we do that are just grip it and rip it streams for the team, where it's just like, just show up, stream for 3 hours. It's easy, it's fun. And then there's certain streams that's like, all right, Connor's got to bring over a certain console. We got to test that, make sure everything works. The amount of prep that's going into this entire stream is a lot. But D&D is that, like, we have to have a full meeting beforehand. Where Shane is putting in like hours of effort to make sure that the campaign runs smoothly. He's also doing it in multiple ways for timing to be like, how much time are we gonna have out, like, to make sure that this all works. It's going to be fucking awesome. And like I said with Kingdom Hearts, there is no bigger stream we do every year, maybe except for Co-op 64 Day. This is super important to us. It's something we are super passionate about. You're going to hear about it on every podcast leading into it. Our excitement for it. We really, really are excited for August 3rd. If you can donate, it would be awesome. We have a bunch of things. We'll have a full thermometer that adds bonus content to the rest of the year's schedule and everything. But we also have wheel spins and everything else. But But if you can't donate, totally fine. Hanging out, bringing in people, sharing it, like all that really does help the channel in a major way, and it helps a really great cause. So we're very, 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 very excited about it.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. These 24-hour streams are always some of the highlights of my year. So look forward to that. August 3rd, we're going to be ramping up, just talking about it over the next few weeks. So we'll remind you. No worries on that. Also, join the Discord. Check out the merch. Links in the bio on the TikTok for that. We have t-shirts, mugs, hoodies. We have over 1,400 community members in our Discord server hanging out, playing games, doing movie nights like tonight where we're going to watch the SpongeBob movie. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. So come hang out in there. If you want to take your Co-op 64 fandom to the next level, it's free. You just get to chat with me, Brady, Nick, and the amazing community that we're fostering over there. So come hang out.
Yeah, you also get to stay up to date with all of our happenings.
Oh, yeah.
We have a bonus stream this week. We can now discuss. Friday, we will be streaming NCAA football, or Saturday, rather. I think me and Brady are still working out the timing. If you want to get the confirmation of it, join the Discord. I believe that we're going to do Saturday at noon is what we decided on this morning. And so Saturday at noon is going to be awesome. NCAA football. Connor, football. It's going to be a great time. I'm rocking my Auburn mug this week because, like, no joke, I am legitimately really, really excited to hop in with Brady and play some sports games. It's obviously something we don't do too often on the channel. It's going to be a blast.
Right on, right on. All right, let's get into the podcast proper. 21 minutes in, talking about our hot takes. I'll kick it off here. My gaming hot take for this week is that the more things change in gaming, the more I want them to stay the same. That's to say that stuff like subscriptions, game streaming, AI usage in video games, NFTs in games, VR, motion controls, free-to-play games, downloadable only games. I don't want anything to do with them. I would prefer to just have video games that I purchase, download, or put into the console and play them on my couch with a controller. There's nothing that beats that. We've tried these innovations. We've tried to push gaming in different directions. And while I think that there's interesting aspects to these things, and I think it's admirable to try to find new avenues to play video games, there's nothing that beats just classic console video gaming. And that's not to say the PC isn't great as well. PC has a lot of those aspects that I'm looking for, of course. But man, like, it just feels like we're constantly trying to change stuff, and I don't want any of it. When it comes to specifically game streaming, people were talking a few years ago about how it's going to take over console gaming. And it's like, dude, it's never going to be perfect. I need it to be there to be no input lag, and there's never going to be zero input lag. There's going to be close to zero. I believe that, but it's never going to be zero. And then VR, we had a whole discussion about that last week. It's just never going to get to where it needs to be replacing just sitting on the couch with the controller playing the game. So like AI, just taking the humanity out of it, taking the human creativity and perspective out of it, just is not ever going to hit quite as hard. So I just, with all of that in mind, I feel like a boomer who just like, back in my day, we had none of this. And it's like, I just want to keep gaming the way that it was. And I know that it's cool to have innovations, and I know that it's interesting, but at the same time, I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I agree with the take. Pretty 90% of it. I do think that eventually we're going to get to a spot where it's going to be nice to turn on your Amazon TV and hop into Game Pass. But like, it's cool
for the people who like want that option.
Yeah, that, like, my main thing is, I know this is a really weird take, but like, or non sequitur, like our uncle Brian, who like every now and then will pick up a game controller. I could see him in like 5 years being like, oh, GTA 6 on my TV, and like my son left a controller, I'm just gonna hop into that for a couple hours and just shoot the breeze and literally never pick it up again. But it's nice to have for someone that doesn't like really give a fuck about gaming that much. Like, there's stuff like that I think that's gonna scratch the itch. But for the hardcore gamer, for the people that like listen to this podcast or like listen to our TikToks that aren't just the trivia ones and really like to hear about in-depth stuff, we just want to fucking play games. We just want to play games and have them work well and not have issues with them and not have the bullshit. And I completely agree.
Yeah, I just feel like such a boomer when I say that, because like, I think that the tech is cool, and there's people who get like really excited about like Xbox Game Cloud and like being able to play on their phone. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of interesting and cool, but like, I just don't I don't like the idea that it might one day replace it.
Yeah.
Replace classic console gaming.
I get it. I'm down for that.
Or subscriptions replace buying video games, or AI replace the developer creating the game. Like, I just want things to stay the same, please. It's moving too fast.
Yeah. All right, you ready?
Yep.
For me to hop into my gaming hot take. My gaming hot take for this week is right now, people need to be enjoying the backlog. We're sort of in this down period in the year, and I love it. I'm coming off a review for Tree, and I got some other review stuff happening in my life, but like, I'm right now so excited to hop into games that nobody really knows about, that I'm like playing and nobody really gives a fuck about. Before the podcast started, I was like, oh, like, it's been so long since I played Halo 2. I just came off playing Halo 1 earlier in the year. I might just give that a shot. I'm stoked to be listening to podcasts over the next couple weeks, late night, driving around in Forza Horizon 5. I'll hop into a Game Pass game. Maybe I get back to Ori and the Will of the Wisp. We're in a really great time right now to enjoy the backlog, and I don't think people are discussing it nearly enough. I promise you've not played every amazing game. There's people that play games nonstop and they still haven't gone to certain titles. Right now, enjoy going back and playing some of those titles. This is a great time to hop into some retro stuff. This is a great time to see what update of Game Pass have you not really noticed that there's now a great release on. There's so many. PlayStation Plus Essential has so many great titles that you can go back on and enjoy. If you don't currently have like the money, but you are accidentally paying for these subscription services like I do pretty often, go and just check out that backlog and see what you want to play. For the Nintendo Switch, I promise you that there's a couple of titles on the eShop that definitely are not on sale, and they probably should be by now, but they're still great. And if you have an interest in one of those titles, go and play it. There's so much fun to be had right now in this more down period, and that's awesome. Enjoy it.
I just don't understand the complaints that people have about there's nothing to play. Like, gaming sucks right now. Like, even if gaming sucks today on like the specific releases around this, which I don't agree with necessarily at all, like, there's so much to play. There's too much to play. Like, you're telling me if you only have access to a PS4, you have too many games to play. Yep. Or a PS5. Like, there's so much to go back to, and just go enjoy that. It's nice to have that freedom to not be a part of the conversation, or need to be a part of the conversation on the newest and hottest game. That, like, you have unlimited freedom to play whatever the fuck you want right now, and go enjoy that. Like, enjoy that freedom, enjoy the opportunity that affords you. If you're one of those people who are into hardcore gaming, like, this is a good time. It's a good thing to have nothing to play.
Totally. I mean, I'm hopping in to play NCAA football and be part of that conversation and review it for the channel, and I'm stoked about that. I'm also stoked to next week, Sunday, like, do that review, play a little bit more like throughout the next couple weeks and everything. And like we said, Extra Life, I'm playing it late night and stuff. But I'm done with that. We also have a little bit more of a gap time, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I just want to. Connor, let me paint you a word picture. It's 10 p.m. tonight. I just finished watching the newest episode of Hot D after going and watching movies with our community after doing a whole bunch of editing, and I'm just gonna throw on an old podcast, drive around Forza Horizon 5 for way too long, and meld into the night, dude, and just become part of it. And I'm so excited about it. Like, it doesn't always need to be the new hotness. It can just be something that you want that itch scratch. And then tomorrow I might hop in and play some Halo. I might go and download P5 again. I don't fucking know, but there's games that like I want to be playing in my backlog that I haven't gotten to yet, and it's a perfect time to do so. And I know that there's other people that are thinking the same thing right now of like, we really should be hopping back in, because sure, there might not be the new hotness that you're excited about, but like, that doesn't mean that gaming's not around right now. It's really, really around.
Yep. Right on. We are going to hop into the topic proper now. We're going to do the 3 must-play game franchises for each of us, game series. Like we said, continuous needs to be like a full-fledged thing that you can go point A to point B, play the whole series, and get an experience out of it.
And so, like we said, Mario, Zelda, Final Fantasy off the board, all those are great franchises. We're not, it's a conversation that we could have. We're just deciding to take those off the boards to shout out some other things. But yeah, if those were on the table for the discussion, I promise you we would have brought up probably all 3 of those franchises.
Right. Also, it doesn't need to be a linear story. Like, it can be told out of order. If that makes sense.
The same universe and everything is important.
I just said point A to point B, and I was like, that can be kind of confusing. So I'm going to kick it off for this one. my first essential gaming series that you need to play before you die is BioShock. BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite, they do connect in some capacity. I think that these games are excellent, have aged gracefully, have some of the best stories in games, have some excellent gameplay, but it's all about the atmosphere. There's just something about Rapture and Columbia that just engrosses the player and makes them feel like they're a part of something otherworldly that feels like could happen, but still feels alien. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love these games so much. I did a replay 2 years ago, I think, and played 1, 2, and then most of Infinite. Still haven't played the DLC for Infinite, which I've heard is great. But the twist in 1 is so good. And while the gameplay isn't, I think, the best first-person gameplay ever created, it's very serviceable and still very fun. I think 2's gameplay takes it to the next level and still tells an excellent story. And returning to Rapture feels like coming home to a horrific, horrible situation, but it still feels warm somehow.
I was about to say, we're in a dark, gritty mansion on a hill. All the walls are torn off. All of the ceilings and floors have holes in it. But there's cookies in the oven. Yeah. Like, there's a little bit of like fun to be had. You're like, this is still nice.
Yeah, so it's nice to return to Rapture. And I think BioShock 2 gets a bad rap because it wasn't made by the original creator, Ken Levine. And I think that works against it, but still, like I prefer 2 to 1, honestly, for like a replay. Like, I enjoy the gameplay. Being able to have a gun in one hand and the plasmid in the other, like, is so nice.
Yeah.
To be able to bounce those back and forth, and that's super fun. BioShock 2 is excellent. BioShock Infinite, I think, has the best story in the series, probably, especially with the character dynamics between Booker and Elizabeth. Excellent performances across the board there. The voice acting for Comstock is so thunderous and epic and scary. I think he's an excellent villain. The world is... Somehow they made a world that goes toe-to-toe with Rapture. I think Rapture's better, but Columbia is excellent. And I know that there's been some revisionist history on Infinite. I think it's the weakest of the series, but it still has a lot of merit. I still think it's an essential playthrough for any self-respecting hardcore gamer. You got to play BioShock. You got to play all 3 of these games, in my opinion. BioShock for my first pick.
Great pick. I really do. I've only played BioShock 1. This is a long running thing that like people are like, Nick just doesn't shut up about BioShock 1. And so it's pretty dumbfounding that it didn't go and play 2 afterwards.
You got to go play Infinite.
By the way, the reason I didn't was like, I started BioShock 1 right after I got out of a relationship, and then like right as like I finished healing from that relationship, I like started being extroverted Nick again, because it was been a while, and I just was like, I'm gonna keep video games down just for a bit so I can force myself to be extroverted.
Instead of playing Halo 2, play BioShock Infinite.
What?
Instead of playing Halo 2, like you were saying,
I think I might hop into Infinite.
Play Infinite.
Yeah, that sounds
if you
so
want to shoot
good.
some shit,
Dude, that sounds really good right now.
It's more of a shooter than the first 2. The first 2 are like almost survival horror-esque.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say survival horror because you're not managing ammo in the same way, but Infinite, like, you're fucking running and gunning. The guns are really cool and interesting.
How long
the
is
plasmids are fun.
You
not
up it up
crazy
as
long.
I look it up.
I'd
'Cause
imagine.
I want like a 1 week. You know what I'm saying? Like where I just play a game in the background for 1 week and I put 3-4 hours in.
I had already started. Maybe if you start playing it, maybe I'll just go home and finish it, and we can do a podcast on BioShock Infinite. And
BioShock Infinite 2024 spoiler cast.
Yeah.
BioShock
and
Infinite.
the ending is so crazy. The ending is so good.
I've heard things about, it's 11 and a half hours.
Yeah, you should do that for sure. They don't make games like this anymore, dude. Like just short experiences that like leave an impact.
I bet I could also go and find. Did it come out on the Xbox One or 360?
360.
I bet we could go.
But there's remastered versions of it.
Yeah, I bet we could go down the street right now, and I could probably go to the Retro Games Store and pick it up for like $6 on
just
the 360.
play it on PC, dog.
Oh, fuck that! No.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sitting on the couch.
Ugh.
I don't want to. Anyways, this is a non-sequitur. BioShock, amazing series. I want to play more of it. I want to BioShock's so fucking good.
Let us know in the comments if you want us to do a BioShock Infinite.
That was
podcast.
so funny. This is like the classic example of like the quarterly bonus casual gaming conversation. We say it all the time. We are at, as of right now, completely at our capacity. Like
Yeah.
we can't do more than what we're currently doing. But like it would be so nice to just be like, all right, let's just do the BioShock conversation.
Yeah, I got like a third of the way through. I mean, we're in a slow period. It's okay to just take a week to talk
Yeah.
about Bioshock Infinite, and it's one of like the most famous games of all time. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot of people that would want to hear us talk about Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah, dude, it's such an odd one too. Like a lot of people fuck with it, and a lot of people are like fucked with the first two so much that they're like, oh, by comparison, it doesn't even come close. But there's people that are BioShock Infinite fans.
Dude, at the time, people loved Bioshock
Yeah.
Infinite. A lot of people thought the Bioshock Infinite should win Game of the Year over The Last of Us in GTA 5,
Yeah.
which I mean, I don't agree with that at all. I think Infinite's better than GTA 5 for sure, not even close. But the fact that they're all in the same conversation, it just goes to show like how much people loved it, and they just over the last few years, people have
Dude,
just
can we just
gotten-
end this fucking podcast? Like, I just want to play
Bioshock
this,
Infinite.
man.
It's fun.
That's the tough part about Sundays is like I have to hop into editing, and Connor and I have these conversations that jazz me up on gaming. I'm like, I gotta edit, and then we
Yeah.
have movie night tonight with the community, which is always like the question of like, will I finish editing before movie night? Sometimes it's interesting. I probably should today with the timeline that we have. And I'm only doing 1 week of editing. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I just realized because we shout out to our amazing editor J Bob that he's taken a couple of the
Yeah, you have to
edits.
edit like 4 things.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. Fucking diabolical. My
Oh wait, Huey.
dude, I watched 15 minutes of The Boys yesterday of the new episode. I still need to finish that. Love The Boys.
All right, let's hear your first essential game series.
My first essential game series is The Last of Us.
Of course it is.
And it's a series we talk about all the time on the channel, but this is part of that conversation of like, this conversation allows us to talk about the ones that we always talk about in a more definitive, clear way than just being like, oh, it's fucking awesome.
I just don't think it has enough games, honestly.
That's fair. But
Though I just should pick Bioshock and has one more game.
Yeah.
I think that one more game does make a world of difference. though.
but also you have factions. You have a multiplayer experience in there that like also adds a bunch of game time.
yeah,
Like,
I weight the single player experience for this topic way more than the multiplayer
yeah,
experience.
totally. And I for me, multiplayer is such a huge part of gaming for me. I think the multiplayer is
Yeah.
really important. I do think that the crafting in The Last of Us in general it was super impressive. We're talking about like just like things that this game knocks out of the park. They're both masterpieces in my eyes. The story, let's just say it. Story's not my favorite story of all time. It is the best story I've ever heard, though. The Last of Us 1 and 2. I think it's the best story amongst all mediums, and I think that playing those stories makes it the best story. I don't think that it's going to hit in the same way when it is on HBO. It didn't hit the same way when it was on HBO. I still think it's an amazing television show. I really enjoyed it.
Can I hop in here real fast?
Yeah.
The Last of Us Part 2 is not going to work as a TV show because, in my opinion, the bait and switch, the twist in that game, like needs to be played to be experienced, to like be understood and like really grasp it. And that's why, in my opinion, there's so much backlash because I think a lot of people saw the leaks and watched a playthrough and made up their mind without playing it.
Yep.
I think you really do need to play this game.
For me, the big thing with The Last of Us Part 2 is I love having conversations with people about this game. It's one of my favorite conversations in gaming to have with gamers is Last of Us Part 2. If you don't fuck with it, I will straight up, like, no joke, and I'm very open to hearing people's opinions on things. I do not care about your opinion unless you played it. Watching a playthrough does not count. Because being on the sticks for some of these moments, or you need to press the button to feel it. You can't just watch it. You need to be in the shoes of these characters and legitimately do certain horrific things. Like and that's impactful in a way that you don't get through watching someone else playing it. I think that the core gameplay does not get discussed enough. The Last of Us Part 2, sure, we can discuss that in just a moment, but The Last of Us Part 1, the crafting, I think, is awesome. The menu list that you get for the craftables are legitimately exactly what it needs to be. You get your bomb, you get your smoke bomb, you have your brick, your bottle. It's very stripped down in a way that also makes sense for the world, and I love every single piece of it. There's also like cool ass shit, like making a baseball bat have a shiv at the end, and you're just like, that's fun, but like it also works so well.
There's something so satisfying about running up to somebody full speed, bat reared back, and boom, just
smoking them.
Yeah, and one shot, one kill. Oh, it's so good.
And then like that even progresses more in the second one, where you have a little bit more variety in that, but it still makes sense for the world. And now this time you get a machete. Now this time you're utilizing Ellie's butterfly knife that it was established in the first. Like, there's so many awesome gameplay mechanics that do not get discussed enough because the story is so fucking good.
Yeah, I think the gameplay is excellent in both of these games. It's way better in 2, but it's still really fun. It's a puzzle game, and people don't talk about that enough. Like how each room is a puzzle room. You're trying to see the pieces fall in front of you and how you're going to make everything fit together with the items that you currently have.
And the best part is the game recognizes and respects the player really well, where it says, play how you want to play. If you want to take this room running and gunning like me, or using a lot of melees and sneaking up behind people and choking them out, like that's the way I like to play. Connor, on the other hand, I assume he's tossing some bottles a little bit more and playing a little bit more stealth.
I'm very stealth. I mean, like if you're playing on harder difficulties, you have to utilize. You don't want to waste a bullet.
Yeah.
You don't want to waste a single bullet. Is so like staying in stealth, or like killing somebody and then getting seen and then going back into hiding until they go back to their patrol like route or whatever. Like that's very helpful. But man, like I have said this 1,000 times on podcasts, and I apologize, but there's no better feeling than walking into a room with 10 guys on survivor mode in The Last of Us 1 with a bottle, 2 hits in your wooden plank left, 3 bullets, and 1 shotgun shell, and saying, figure it out.
Yep.
And just being like, and then coming out on top of that feels so amazing. Like it's euphoric every single time, and then it repeats and repeats and repeats, and then those moments in between where you're scrounging. I know a lot of people don't like the scrounging sessions. I fucking love the scrounging sessions. It's so good to like open a drawer and find the exact item that you need after opening 10 drawers before that with nothing, or something that you didn't need at the moment at all. Like, oh, it just feels so amazing, and will sway the outcome of your next encounter because you were thorough and you wanted to take those slow moments. And then also you're finding notes in those slow moments as well that flesh out the world. It's all so synergized so well. I love it. The conversations between characters, the optional stuff in those scrounging sessions, like everything about The Last of Us is so top of class that like it's not repeatable by anybody else other than Naughty Dog at this point, in my opinion.
And then you bring in the cast. You bring in Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson, Laura Bailey. Like, these are voice actors at the top of their fucking game. Watching those breakdowns of The Last of Us 1 and 2 and how it was shot and produced, hearing Troy Baker talk about The Last of Us Part 2 is insane, because it at times sounds like, how are you even talking about a fucking video game at this point? You're talking about these themes that are so deep and so beyond just like what is being displayed, but it's there and it's real. And the way that he is Joel and is able to portray those emotions, the way that Ashley is Ellie, and the way that they're able to portray her emotion, it's just so beyond me, where I'm like, these are top of their class. You are watching fucking Kobe and Shaq windmill dunking some of these fucking scenes. Like, it is unbelievable the way that these characters are portrayed. Every single line is delivered with precision and perfection. Every single moment in the script is like, legitimately, I don't know if they can tug on the emotional heartstrings more than the ending of The Last of Us Part 2. I don't know if there's the ending of The Last of Us Part 1 has 2 separate moments that I think are the best ending moments in gaming. Like, there's the moment that, like, and then there's the very last moment, the last line. And I think both of them are like, this is how you fucking do it. This is how you fucking do it. And we did not need a Last of Us Part 2. And then they just decided to go and say, hold my beer, we're going to create, in Connor's opinion, the greatest game of all time. Yeah. In my opinion, one of the greatest games of all time. This is as good as it gets. And they're able to do it in 2 game series. With 2 games, it is one of the best, most essential game series out there. I think that every human being needs to play The Last of Us. I think that this game series should be studied in schools. Like I think that like the themes and the way that they develop are better than you get in certain like most of the required reading that you have in schools and even in college and everything. I would love to see a Last of Us 101 in college one day, because that is how fucking good the themes and the gameplay are. You could write books on this fucking thing. Like, I don't think that's the case for so many game series. The Last of Us, it might be the exception to the rule. This is one of the best game series ever, and honestly would be a disgrace for me not to say on this podcast for this episode. Connor, what's your next one?
My next one is Mass Effect, of course.
Whoa.
We're not going to include Andromeda in this. We're just going to forget about that.
Oh, yeah, what? Andromeda who?
Yeah, it doesn't even count. I'm shocked if EA even acknowledges it themselves. But
we acknowledge our tribal chief, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 are essential gaming experiences that everybody needs to play. It is sci-fi world building perfection. The way that it doesn't buckle under the weight of its lore is so impressive. It's very accessible and yet an ocean trench deep. Like, there's so much to dig into this world. It feels like it's been going for so long when you're inserted into it. There's history here that you hear about, like different races who have been at war with each other but are now at peace. The Genophage, the Turian, Targaryen, Krogan war that happened, the First Contact War, like all of this stuff. There's so much to dig into here, but then you just strip it back to the individual situation with the Reapers, the threat of the Reapers, that ever-present, scary monster in the closet that is coming to wipe out the sentient races in the universe, is such an epic thing to deal with. And Shepard being on the front lines of this and gathering a crew to fight against this threat throughout 1, 2, and 3 is amazing. Great JRPG, great RPG mechanics when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to the dialogue options, when it comes to like character classes and everything. There you can have a different experience depending on what class you decided to go into. And I want to put some respect on the gameplay of this series. I think 2 and 3's gameplay is excellent. I know that it might not be the best third-person cover shooter of all time, but I think it feels great to order your crewmates to flank and do certain attacks, and then you hit a headshot to get somebody out of cover and throw a grenade and 3 over towards somebody. I think it's a lot of fun. And that goes to show that, like, in the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, which is literally just like wave-based shooting baddies, I put a ton of time into that. So I think that as a whole, Mass Effect, everybody needs to play it. Nick is going to play it later this year. Are you starting with 1 and then going on? Okay.
Doing 1 and 2 this year.
Okay.
Is the game plan. 3 is one of those, like, we'll see how burned out I am after doing a back-to-back. That was the conversation about Metal Gear. So yeah.
I've replayed 2 10 to 15 times at this point, and I still don't have the platinum, but like for the most part, I've done everything in this game except for beat it on the hardest difficulty, and I still want to go back. And there's very few games that are like that for me that I've just like, again, there's so much, and I get something new out of it every single time. Like, and they all have different flavors that like I get out of them. Mass Effect 1 is more of just a straight up RPG, has a ton of deep mechanics there. Mass Effect 2 is getting the gang together and fighting the collectors and the suicide mission at the end. Yeah. Mass Effect 3 is an existential world-ending threat where humanity needs to team up with all the galaxy's races and take on the Reapers, or else nothing. Or else everybody will be left with nothing. Like, they all have different aspects, but they're all excellent. I think that everybody needs to play this series, Mass Effect, with my second pick.
Yeah, this is one of those, like, I just need to fucking get to moments.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to get to later this year.
It's going to be fun.
You ready for my second one?
Let's hear it.
Connor, my second essential game series is something that I couldn't discuss before this year. I'm going with Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 for me are the ones that I've played. I'm going to do a little bit of a spoiler there are plans for me to play 4 on stream. And those plans might have to deal with Extra Life. It's not happening during Extra Life. Don't worry about that. But just a little teaser for you. Metal Gear Solid is essential to gaming. Let's just start out with the gameplay because I think it's one of the least interesting things to discuss while also being immensely impressive. Metal Gear Solid 1, for some reason, for me, was like one of the most fun gameplay experiences I've ever had. And it's a PS1 game that you are not really able to go into first. Like, it's top down, like it running around, and it's awesome.
And somehow still feels like super cinematic.
Super cinematic.
And it, like, the characters are so ugly, but like you just need a little bit of imagination,
and you
feel like you're watching a movie.
Oh yeah. And so for me, when you're talking about the gameplay, a example of it, the Sniper Wolf battle, where you have this sniper rifle that you go and have to get, and then you bring back to the fight. That's a little bit of an annoying moment in the game, but it's still exciting because you're still playing that core game mechanic of sneaking around this terrifically terrifying Metal Gear facility.
Shadow Moses.
And then you get back to the sniping area, and what do you have to do? You have to dial in these shots, and you're swaying because you're in the cold and you're freaking out. And what do? You take a pill that you found to go and steady your shot.
Diazepam.
And it's awesome. The hitting those shots felt as good as hitting headshots in freaking Valorant last night.
Took me so many tries to do it.
Yeah,
dude.
For me, I only had 2 pills left after a long and difficult experience of having to rerun it because I didn't save correctly. Oh no, sorry. This was I died in the next scene and then got sent back.
The torture scene.
Fuck me, dude. Anyways, that like so electric. I only had 2 pills, so I got my shots in, and then I had to like dial in some sway shots where like I just had to like time it correctly and then snipe in. The gameplay works, and it's a PS1 game. I don't think you can say that for a majority of PS1 games where it's like was all right for the time. No. This still works right now. Then you're talking about the characters. Maybe the best cast of characters besides Final Fantasy VII for me at this point. We're talking about just iconic status, like the villains of Liquid and Revolver Ocelot, Psycho Mantis in 1.
Psycho Mantis.
And then you have the Fear and like you just go down the list and Vamp and 2, like just like random. The list is endless for villains that you can discuss in this game. 1 has the best villain cast, I think, bar none, but it still works in 2. It still works so well in 3. And then the stories. The story of feeling like a badass playing as Snake. Connor uses the term ultimate badass a little fluidly. It's Leon Kennedy. I'm deciding that. I decided that a while ago. Leon Kennedy is the ultimate badass. I only use that term for him. But Snake's a goddamn close second. Like, it is so epic to play as Snake in these games. And to have these epic cinematic moments that they're able to portray on a PS2, on a PS1 is insane. The cinematics at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater are so beyond insane of the storytelling of this grandiose adventure that you have in the jungle and then dialing it into a 15-minute cutscene that explains legitimately everything, reveal after reveal that makes complete sense that you could totally pick up on if you're a smart person, but like the storytelling works in a way that you don't pick up on it on a first playthrough, and every single reveal hits. Kojima, master storyteller. And that's not news to anyone. We understand that this guy's brain works in a completely different way than anyone else's in the medium. Metal Gear Solid 3 had so many of those moments, but they're grounded. Like, they all make sense. Metal Gear Solid 2 just says, fuck that, we're just going to tell the future. We're just going to be fucking weird with the end of this game. Metal Gear Solid 2 has the best ending in gaming. I've said multiple times since beating it, because I legitimately think for the last 30% of that game, it is pure gas. Metal Gear Solid 1, terrific, straightforward game with great villains. I'm so excited to play 4 and 5. I know that 5 has great open world stealth.
So good, dude.
Yeah, and then 4 in its own right, the story is unbelievable. A lot of people love 4.
You gonna play Peace Walker?
Eventually. Yeah. It is one that I'll get around to.
I want to play Peace Walker real bad. I want a PSP so bad. I think I'm going to get it at Torg.
But
I think I'm going to get a PSP at Torg, and I think I'm going to get a 3DS XL at Torg.
Nice. But I just want to go and shout out Metal Gear Solid and it, like, as something that I didn't think was gonna hit for me. It's one of those that like you setting expectations when you hear about a series like this so many times. It's so amazing. I have so many great memories. I'm like, all right, it's gonna hit for me. Because like I think that another example of it is like PS1 games in general for me are like really a hit or miss sort of deal of like I've heard great things and it's just not hitting. Like what are we looking
I'm just
at?
looking at
Twisted
PS1
Metal
games.
2, dude. Like
Yeah.
man, that's not gonna hit. Like but like this game hit. I can't believe it. It's one of the most fun experiences I've ever had. The fact that I finished 2 and was like load up 3 after playing Metal Gear Solid for like a month and a half on stream, I think says a lot about my feelings about this game. It is essential to the gamer to play before you die. And there is a collection on modern consoles that sometimes is busted, and I wish I had a little bit more modern sensibilities. Still unbelievable. Still plays very well. Get after it if that sounds of interest to you. Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3. I'm so excited for Metal Gear Solid Delta because I know that's going to be a lot of people's first, and it's going to be awesome. Play Metal Gear Solid. Essential. Just essential.
I think that when you look at gaming history and you can point to watershed moments and turning point moments, that Metal Gear Solid changed how people looked at video games as like a kiddie thing, as like oh, Crash Bandicoot and Mario and like oh, it's a toy. And then Metal Gear came along and like, and I'm sure there's games that predate it, of course, but
Yeah.
Metal Gear came along and like was like, oh, this is for like adults. Like this is cinema. And when it comes to Kojima, is he a little bit stuck up and probably likes the smells of his own farts?
Jeez Louise.
He loves himself.
Yeah.
He knows but like if anybody's earned it,
Yes.
if I was him, I would have such a big head. I would have such a big ego.
Yeah.
Because if you can look back on your career and you have these games under your belt, it's like, man, he just doesn't miss.
Yeah.
He just doesn't miss.
Doesn't miss.
So I mean, like even if you don't like Death Stranding's gameplay, the story is still really interesting and really cool.
Yeah,
He's the master.
Like there's a certain point where this game recognizes game, and I went from a long time of just getting excited about Kojima because he's an ethereal being almost. Like I'm just like, oh, like when is this dude gonna show up because he doesn't miss? Getting to sit down and play this franchise, I was like, mother effer doesn't miss, dude. Like he just doesn't fucking miss.
Now we just got to get you on Death Stranding.
Not happening. Death Stranding 2, I'm all about. Death Stranding 1,
You
not
have to play
happening.
1 first. I'm not letting you play 2.
You're not gonna let.
Yeah.
You're gonna
I'm
unplug
not.
my PS5
Yes,
and
I'm
bring it
coming.
home.
I'm gonna babysit you and make sure you don't play it.
Let's just do a subathon for it. I bet so many people would be so interested in a Nick plays Death Stranding subathon.
Well, if you don't want to do it, that would be more interesting.
I don't want to do
Yeah.
it.
All right, my final game. We got to get some platforming perfection on here. We're talking about Donkey Kong Country.
I thought it was coming down the line.
Yeah,
for sure.
I kind of wanted to see what you picked and see like if I could kind of slot in a particular series just to like have a fully fledged list. We'll see where it ends up on the last one. But I think you need some platforming, and I don't think there's a single game series more consistent in the platforming space than Donkey Kong Country. Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3. Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze. Like the down point is 3, I guess. Like and I love that game. Like every single game in the series has its own visual flair, has its own unique aspect to it, but always retains this weirdness and fluid and excellent gameplay. Like I just want to return to it constantly. Like every single time I haven't played a Donkey Kong Country in a while, I'm like, nah, fuck it. I'll just put on 1 and play the first few levels real fast and just have that experience and then maybe go play something else. But I just love it. And the way that they just don't really rest on their laurels and just keep adding gameplay element. You play as a parrot. You play as you can hop on Ramby's back and ride the rhino through a level. It's so fun and so weird. So many secrets to find. So many bosses to challenge you. I still haven't played Tropical Freeze. I'm keeping it in the back pocket for a rainy day, for when I need something to bring me up. You know what I mean? Because
Totally.
I know I'm going to love it. Everybody says it's probably the best in the series. And I think 2 is the 6th greatest game of all time. I fucking love Donkey Kong Country 2. But for me, when it comes to platforming, it comes to timeless platforming, I think it doesn't get better than Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that this was gonna be on your list, by the way. This was one of those
I've talked about it a lot.
platforming. Yeah, and you put me in a good spot because I was like, do I want to like throw in more variety in my list? I think that Donkey Kong Country is one that I'm gonna get around to soon. We're talking about trying to get me to play certain things like off stream, on stream that like I want to knock out really fast. And Donkey Kong Country isn't too long and everything, so I'm just excited to get to experience the music because the music is so good and so beloved, and like the way that it fits the themes of what's happening on the gameplay, it really just makes sense. And it's crazy that it makes sense because the music's crazy and it's wild, but it's also, you're talking about apes being crazy. Like, it's awesome. And so I'm really excited to get to it. But like,
top tier story too. They stole Donkey's bananas, dude. He's got to get them back.
Got to get those bananas back.
His banana hoard.
There's always money in the banana stand, Connor.
What's your final game?
I'm between two. So I'm gonna go with Madden. No, I really am between two series, and I've gone back and forth. The one that I'm not going to do, and I think would be a fun discussion to have, is Resident Evil. Mm-hmm. I really do enjoy Resident Evil, and we'll do some honorable mentions at the end of this. Like I assume, just like some quick rapid fire, not like go into depth on any of them, just shout out franchises. But the one that I'm going to do is the game series that got me really fucking into gaming, and I think it's the case for you too. I'm doubling down on Naughty Dog, and I'm going to do Uncharted. I'm going like
I thought about doing Uncharted. Well.
It's because for me it's essential. Like when we're having this discussion of what is essential, it almost feels like Desert Island games, but it's not. Like it's games you need, it's series you need to play before you die. I think Uncharted is almost more essential than Resident Evil because there are those down periods. Uncharted is so consistent, it is unbelievable. After Uncharted 1, which establishes characters very well.
Uncharted 1's still good.
Yeah, I think it's a good time, and I think that the characters are what drives that in the same way that it does for the rest of the series. But Uncharted 1, great. Uncharted 2, I remember like being like called out for it not being super influential and everything. The big budget set piece of the train opening of Uncharted 2, simply put, is unbelievable. Like, legitimately, I don't know how they did it. It's so unbelievable that Mission Impossible decided to go and do its own cover of it 10 years later. I think that people sleep on the fact that how groundbreaking Uncharted 2 was in 2009. Like, it doesn't make sense that it is this good, and it is this good. Great storytelling, great characters, great villains. I think that people like lean on being like, Lazarevich, who the fuck cares? Flynn is a great villain in 2. Great like heel turn and everything, and really delivers the goods of like what this story is unfolding, creating this cast that's interconnected, different relationships, different love interests, the way that you feel for these characters. Sully and Nate's dynamic being the one of the best in gaming gets really, really pushed into. And then Uncharted 3. I've said it, and I don't know if I fully believe, but until somebody gives me a better example of it, the most underrated game in gaming. Because everyone talks about 2, 4, and Lost Legacy, and as well as they should, Uncharted 3 is fucking awesome. It's such gas, and there are those down periods that like I forget about when you're young Nate and everything that like are a little bit slow, but like they're so fun. They're so like
there's more of those in 4.
Yeah.
Than in 3.
In 3. But I think they work a little bit better in 4, TBH.
I disagree.
Oh, interesting.
I think they work the same.
Yeah, anyways, this is still just an unbelievable, epic, fun adventure. These first couple of games are just fun adventures. It's adventures that you want to go on 24/7, 365. There isn't a day that I don't want to play Uncharted. Like, I've said it pretty often of like, Call of 64 Day is going to roll around, and I'm going to do a fun little bit of like, handing out envelopes and be like, what game are you for sure playing this year on stream, like as a piece of content? Mine most likely will be Uncharted 4. I love Uncharted 4 to no end. This is a game that has no right to be as deep and emotional as it is with the predecessors that it had. The way that I feel when Elena walks into the room in that game, and everyone knows the moment I'm talking about, and if you don't, I think it's big enough to not worry about it, is one of the most pitfalling, heart in my throat moments that I've ever had. And it's fucking Uncharted. They're not supposed to be able to do that with the themes of this game, but they do. This is Nathan Drake realizing what he's done. You go from having these 3 epic, grandiose Indiana Jones type adventures with a way more cool Indiana Jones with a way better cast than Indiana Jones has ever had. But like now you are just being like, oh fuck, dude. Like who am I as Nathan Drake? What does this mean to be a treasure hunter that has slain hundreds of people, that is putting their relationships on the line? And you want to know why these relationships matter? Because we had 3 games with this cast. Let's figure out what family means to this character. Let's figure out what success means to this character. Uncharted 4 is a masterpiece of a video game where every single set piece is more epic than the previous one. Every single character dynamic is pure and lovely, but also heartbreaking because it has its flaws. It's extremely, extremely human. I really just cannot shut up about Uncharted 4 as legitimately like a masterpiece for me. It does not get better. If you want to go and say, create a game that makes me feel like I'm playing a movie and have it not be a bad thing, but have it work in every possible way from character dynamics and set pieces and great gameplay as a cover shooter, it is Uncharted 4. This is as good as it gets in game, and it's a masterpiece for me. And then there's a Lost Legacy. Lost Legacy just makes the game smaller in a way that's like a shorter story, but it does it in such an effective manner that it doesn't matter that it's shorter. Let's bring in Nadine and Chloe as these 2 protagonists that are both so badass and proven to be badass, and let's put them in multiple epic settings, multiple epic moments. Let's have them be fucking as awesome as Nathan Drake. Like, I fucking cannot believe how good this series is. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about it. I almost feel like when Connor gave me this prompt and he said only 3 series, I'm like, I'm gonna put 2 Naughty Dog games on this list because I feel like for me those are the 2 most essential experiences in gaming that I've ever had. But also I know so many other people are like, yep, Uncharted 4, Uncharted 2. It doesn't get more essential than that. And then The Last of Us being what it is. We can go another 6 rounds on The Last of Us. But Uncharted 4, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, Lost Legacy, all terrific examples of what gaming can do when it comes to character, gameplay, and most importantly, set pieces. It is the best set pieces in all of gaming consistently through the franchise.
I think you forgot about the most important one. Golden Abyss.
Oh,
on the PlayStation Vita.
It's some fun to have.
Dude, Golden Abyss is awesome.
Yeah.
Golden Abyss is better than Uncharted 1.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's a plus for the Uncharted series. It's got a great mobile game. Sony Bend, makers of Days Gone, made Golden Abyss.
Golden Abyss.
Love it. I think that Lost Legacy proves that Uncharted can work without Nathan Drake. And I would love to see them return at this point.
I know that they can do it. Because I know that Naughty Dog wouldn't let an Uncharted come out without having like some hand in it. It could go to another studio, but there would be some sort of consulting team or somebody that's leading it that previously worked on Uncharted. They can't fuck up an Uncharted because, once again, it's a prestige title for the PlayStation, and they don't do that. I would love to see what they would do next. They have a couple different avenues that they could go, whether they want to make an Uncharted 5 or they want to go and make Uncharted : something else with certain characters in the universe. But the universe and the fun, the writing, it's so impressive to me that they made that like Nathan Drake as a character persist beyond Marvel. Like the Marvel movies are coming out in that level of humor, and it's different in its own way. It is quippy humor that you get with something like Guardians of the Galaxy, but it
doesn't feel like that.
It doesn't feel like it, and it's so impressive. Like we go and we have these moments where there are that like Marvel humor that comes in, and so many people roll their eyes. Nathan Drake, it never felt like that, even though it's so similar in design, and it works because it's earned, and the character dynamics are earned. Like this is something that every single person that plays video games should play. Do you want to go through some quick honorable mentions?
Yeah, my first off the list was God of War. Okay. I think as a whole series, 1, 2, and 3, even including Ascension in there, Chains of Olympus, Ghost of Sparta, and then the 2 new ones. I think like there's no bad game in there. And there's 2, I would say 3 essential games in God of War 3, 2018 and Ragnarok. So I think that for a game series to do it for that long and at that high of a caliber, I think that is very, very impressive.
Yeah, God of War was off my list. Resident Evil I already discussed.
I had Resident
And
Evil
then Halo is another big one that we didn't discuss.
I have Kingdom Hearts, Ratchet and Clank as well.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank is
another one that hasn't really missed. They've had some worse titles.
It's worse though. It's one of those.
The end of the PS3 era, All-in-One and Nexus, I think, are probably the weakest periods. But like even then, they're fun games.
And then I think Rift Apart is like an amazing video game. I think that for a while I was like Rift Apart for me was the best game on the PlayStation 4 or PS5 for a while. Like
I think you could still make an argument, right? Outside of.
I'm more of a. I have that and God of War Ragnarok at 9.
I'm saying if somebody argued, not you.
Oh yeah.
But I'm saying if somebody wanted to argue that Rift Apart is the best one, the best game on PlayStation, I wouldn't really have much of a
disagreement.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a definitive answer over it. Is my main thing. You're talking about there's nothing that's a PS5 exclusive that's a masterpiece for me, and I think for most people that's the case. And we're talking exclusive. We're not talking Elden Ring or anything like that. And then I think that. You're talking your semantics at that point. 9 versus 9.5. Why not? Right? Like there are a lot of great games.
Right on. Let's hop into our Concord Impressions. Nick and I both played quite a bit last night. I played about 3 hours on Friday. And then like 2-3 yesterday. And you played like 3 or 4 yesterday.
I played roughly 4.5 hours, 5 hours ish, because I played a couple hours before streaming too, like an hour and like 15 before stream, and then I played for like 3 hours on stream, so maybe 4.5.
Yeah, we talked about it a bit, quite a bit.
Yeah, on stream because everyone's asking us, hey, what do you think and everything, and what like Connor and I do try to like save certain conversations with the podcast when they make sense, but I think we could both feel out each other just by the discussion of it, of how we're doing everything and the fun we were having with it. Connor, how do you feel about Concord after the beta?
I think it's good, not great, and closer to fine than great, if that makes sense. Okay. So I think from a gameplay perspective, from like an actual mechanical perspective, it's very impressive, very polished. I think it feels very good on the sticks. I think from a character class perspective, I think there's a lot of diversity there. I had a lot of fun switching between characters. When I was doing bad on one character, I could switch to somebody else and still have a fun time. And it felt pretty comfortable. The onboarding was pretty good, where I was just like, okay, go in and shoot shit. That's good. I think that from a visual perspective, it's very impressive for like the fidelity, but from an art direction perspective, this is where I'm going into the bad. I think that this is some of the worst character design I've ever seen in my entire life. I think these characters are either unremarkable or ugly, like in just like they're just not appealing to the eye or whatever. Like on like I don't know, like there's not a lot of satisfaction in their creativity that I get of like, oh, that character looks cool. Oh, that character looks cool. Like, no, I don't say that about a single character. You know what I mean? So don't love that. I think that from a story perspective, because this game, this game is gonna boast is it's gonna have weekly vignettes to go into the world of Concord and talk about the characters. There was one at the start of the game. Couldn't tell you anything about it. Went in my brain and out the other side like immediately. So yeah, I think that's a pretty big negative. My biggest negative, and it's something that I think that they could fix, but I don't think that they will, is the game modes that are currently available in the beta are not conducive to a hero shooter. And what I mean by that is that hero shooters, generally speaking, have like some level of teamwork and team composition. Like you're supposed to have like a tank and a DPS and a healer and stuff like that. There's no like cue when it comes to forcing players into a certain role. So a lot of people just end up playing a character that feels fun to shoot shit with. And that's fine because it's what is available in the beta right now is team deathmatch and kill confirmed, which is fun to shoot shit for a little while, but it never really felt like there was a lot of teamwork going on. So I was like, why is this even a hero shooter in the first place? And then they had a 5v5, 1 life per round, no respawn mode that devolves into who can kill the other team the fastest. And nobody was playing the objective. And I played a bunch of matches of this, and that was the case in every single one. I almost couldn't tell you what the objective is.
You need to like hold a zone. It's more. It felt like holding the zone was like almost a secondary objective, but the way that the time to kill works in this game, a 5v5 no respawn elimination mode just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's completely broken. I think they should take that mode out of the game completely and rework it or do something with it. But
I think that game mode works so much better if there's that zone and then the team has 10 total lives. So like a 10 countdown, and
so
you're also playing the objective and you're also flying in, but like the objective didn't matter and the rounds went by so quick that it wasn't conducive to like having a good time.
Yeah. So there is a locked away in the beta modes that are like, it's seemingly like domination modes. And I think that would work great. And my big takeaway from this is that they didn't copy Overwatch enough, which a lot of people were like, oh, it's an Overwatch clone. It's like, and I appreciate them trying to differentiate themselves, but they need game modes that are like push the payload and capture the point or capture the flag, like to really have some team synergy and work together, because it for TDM and Kill Confirmed, I was just running around and shooting shit. And that's fun for a little bit. It's not $40 worth of fun. So that's my big takeaway. If they can fix that and have better game modes, I think that it would go from being a good time to a great time. And I think that could change the trajectory of the game. So we'll see next weekend, because apparently those other game modes are going to be available. But what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think this might be like one of those weird occurrences that like scoring wise, if you like made a score right now, we're pretty close. We are like pretty close, but I'm a little bit, for some reason, more positive about it, because I think that running around and killing people did feel really satisfying and having fun. A big part of this game was like when I was playing solo, I was having a great time, like just running around. I think that the narrative of the hero shooter, everyone wants to compare it to Overwatch. This game plays so much like Destiny 2 in comparison. It's ridiculous. It is not Overwatch. It doesn't feel like I'm playing Overwatch basically at all. With my limited time of playing Overwatch, I have played like 45 minutes of Overwatch. I wasn't a fan. I'm having a great time with it though. I'm having a good time with it. I had a bunch of fun playing with you last night. Brady comes on to go and like, I was about to start playing Cuphead or something else, and then Brady comes on to go and play more Concord with me, and we're having a great time. And I do think that like part of it is you can just run around and play without a care in the world of like, and we're just talking about the concert last night and the movie you saw, and we're just chilling, right? But when Brady and I were playing, for some reason we naturally fell a little bit more to discussing the game and like just like what's happening in it. And it works. You can go in and be like, and when we did, you and I were like, stay on me, we did see more success. Like we were a little bit better at like trading out and stuff like that. And that's difficult to do, but it doesn't feel like you need to do it in the way that for Overwatch and Valorant, like communication is such a focal point. You can just run around and have fun shooting shit, but it will be better if you go and like rock together. I think that this game is a very good time. I am nervous about the legs of it. I am very nervous that like it will not have the staying power. In games, the goal of these types of games are to have that staying power. So I'm not going to say it's a success when it might not have that ability. But I do believe that the whole time I was playing it, I was just like, and I said this probably 5 times to you, and I think I said it 3 or 4 times, Brady, this game is going to work really well to capture the flag. Like I think that the time to kill and the
I don't know if there's a capture the flag mode though.
I know. I believe that there is. I could, correct me if I'm wrong, comments, and I thought there was something in the previews that said that there was going to be a capture the flag mode.
Because I agree.
Yeah, this would be like, I need the playlist to have the main focus be the objective games.
I cannot fucking believe that they don't have objective-based game modes in the beta. That makes no fucking sense. Put your best foot forward. Like, that's crazy talk that they don't have those in there. Like, I'm glad that they're gonna have them in the open beta next weekend, but like, what the fuck are you thinking, guys? Like, I want every game to succeed. I want every game to be great. So like, I'm just thinking of it from that perspective. Like, I want this game to do well and be fun, and I'm just disappointed because I think that they're not putting their best foot forward. My big prediction for this, after a weekend of playing, this game, based off of the feedback that they get, is going to launch on PlayStation Plus in the first month. And that could save it. Yeah. Otherwise, it is dead on arrival. It is cooked. I was having a free to play amount of fun, not a $40 amount of fun.
But did the free to play amount of fun want to make you buy skins?
No, we went 10 rounds
we
with
went
this
back and
last
forth on
night.
it.
We're not going to agree.
Yeah.
So I don't want to rehash that, but yeah, no, I just don't think that people are going to buy this game. Nobody's going to buy this game.
Yeah, and my point on the argument, and once again, we just disagree, and that's fine, and we both respect each other's opinions and intelligence on this thing. I think that there is not a reason to buy skins once it is free to play. Like, there's no reason to spend money in this game once it goes free to play. And at that point,
still need a player base.
Yeah,
though.
I know.
And you're not going to get a player base on a $40 hero shooter that is good.
That's the tough part. I do have the game modes. This is coming from Game Rant. I should go written by Luke Greenfield. So shout out you from Game Rant. There are 6 modes at launch, and it doesn't seem like there's a capture the flag mode. So we're about to have a fun discussion. Takedown: kill each player and their team achieve will net them points during the game. That reads weird. Anyways, the team with the most points at the end is the winner. This is TDM basically. Trophy hunt is kill confirmed. Area control is not
domination.
a game that we got to play. This is 3 capture zones will spawn on the map. It is domination, what you know from Call of Duty and such. More zones, team captures, you get points for. It's domination. Clash point, teams will have to locate and defend a designated zone on the map from an enemy crew or just eliminate them before they get the chance to contest. This, I believe, was the game mode that we played last night, which is not fun because if you just kill everyone, you win, and you don't respawn, and it doesn't work with time to kill. Signal chase, teams will have to locate and control various zones on the map with a limited time to earn points. That is what I assume King of the Hill, moving a single zone.
Okay.
And then cargo run, and team will be split between trying to safely extract valuable cargo or trying to steal the enemy crew's cargo. That kind of sounds like it could be capture the flag. But I
mean, that's all good. Like, that's good.
Yeah,
why
that's
are they not in the beta though? Like, it actually is really frustrating to me because
this is so important. This beta is really important to see how it goes. This is
live or die. It has 300 people on Steam right now because on Steam you had to have pre-ordered the game. On PlayStation, if you have PlayStation Plus, you can play it. There's 300 people playing it on the first day. That is horrifically bad. That is so bad. And there's no way they expected that. There's no way they wanted this. So I think that they need to. I kind of wish that they released the game modes early and just were like, fuck it, like let's just see how it goes, because I think that changes the conversation completely. Because for the most part, based off what we've seen online from TikTokers, from people in our space, a lot of people are pretty positive on this game and say that it's fun, and it is fun. I just think that the overarching conversation around it is more interesting than actually playing it, if that makes sense.
My whole thing too is something I didn't mention with my preview was the vignettes I don't give a fuck about. And I'm somebody that just talked about 3 central gaming franchises, all that deal with story as a main focal point. And I couldn't give a flying fuck about the story. And that's really bad. That is if you're gonna put an emphasis on it, it needs to be great. And I watched it, and eyes were glazed over like a minute in. I just didn't give a fuck.
We're free gunners, and we're gonna go and do missions, but the missions, I guess, are kill the other team. Like, it doesn't feel like it has like this.
And the worst part
line,
is because you have an agent select of you can do whatever. You are facing people on the other team that are also you, and it just doesn't feel like that works in a story-based game.
I like how Valorant does it.
Yeah,
there's like an alternate universe where you're fighting like evil versions of yourself.
And then I think that also the Last of Us Factions, the way they do it with hunters versus fireflies, it's like, this makes story sense. Like, there's some level of like reason to the fight you're having. When you're having a story-based game, it just doesn't, or like there's some story, it doesn't work. And so that's a swing and a miss in my opinion. But is the game fun? Yes. Do I think it will be more fun? Yes. Am I having a great time with it right now? No. And this is one of my most anticipated games. And the reason it was anticipated wasn't because I thought it was going to be a 10 out of 10 type of game. I didn't even think that this was a game I was going to play deep into the year. I just wanted to go and have a bunch of fun for a few weekends with my friends. My fear is we're going to finish this beta next week, like where we'll play all the game modes, and then it's going to come out and it's going to be like, Does it survive? Like, this will be, by the time it comes out, it's the third weekend of gaming with each other and having fun and everything.
Right.
Are we playing it beyond the third weekend?
You cannot possibly convince a group of friends to pick this game up. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Like we're like, a lot of multiplayer games are like, dude, you got to check this game out. We can play it together. And like, I'm not gonna tell somebody to buy Concord. Are you kidding me?
As right now,
there's no way that like I'm gonna be playing it in a few weeks, and that sucks.
I do believe that there's a chance that if I'm having a great time, like the nice part is it seems like there's a whole nother playlist that is not the kill-based games.
Yeah.
And if I'm having a blast with the like if we're having that's a game changer, a complete game changer.
Yep.
And but seeing that the core mechanics do function really well, like the shooting feels good, the different characters feel fun. Time to kill, I think, is really good in this game, where like it like makes sense with the different character designs and the way that the different weaponry works and abilities. I did have, after you got offline, a definitive moment in this game, which like I think the multiplayer games rely on certain moments of being like, oh shit, that was fucking awesome, and like hitting that endorphin hit, where I was playing the basic fucking dude. I threw a smoke grenade and then realized that when I scope in after throwing the smoke grenade, you can see through the smoke with that scope only. And so going in, I threw my smoke. I saw someone and like he couldn't see me because I just outmaneuvered him in this game, blasted him, and I was like, that felt fucking good. Like that is a gameplay moment that I can like point to and be like, I haven't had something like that in something else recently, and it hits, and then like I want more of that. And I played as a character more and got more kills like that, and I was like, this feels fucking awesome. Like learning these characters is going to be super interesting, and I do think that like it's a hero shooter. Yes, you are different heroes in a roster shooting. This is not Overwatch. It plays so much more like Destiny, and like I want the marketing or like obviously it's a hero shooter. That's what's going to be called, and that's what's going to be said about it. I want the discussion on the game to be, hey, that's not this. This actually plays in a little bit different of a way, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I do think it's distinct. You go the other way with it though, where you're like, it needs to play more like Overwatch.
No, it doesn't need to play more like Overwatch. Like from like a gameplay perspective, it needs modes like Overwatch. Yeah.
And I think that
because I think it does play like Destiny. I think you're right on the money there.
And I do think that there is a world where we come back here next week and we go, we're playing more Concord after stream or right now because like we're having a blast with it with these different game modes. The core game is there. Like reviewing this game is gonna be really fun because objectively, and it's polished. The like way that the game works and the gameplay works really well. But multiplayer games live and die with my favorite stat in gaming: fun per minute, baby. And I was having a 7 out of 10 fun per minute time. I was having a good time with it.
I'm floating more around a 6.
Yeah, but like once again, I think with our discussion on it, we're in a similar area.
So drastically.
I'm also like there was a point where I was like 7.5 fun. I did at a point like right before you got off. I was like, I'm not even having 6.5 fun. Like I'm even. There's moments I was going down. I'm like 7 after having that gameplay moment, and a couple others alongside it. There's a person with a rocket launcher that I was having a blast with towards the end of last night.
She's fun.
I'm laughing with Brady. My main thing is $40 is a tough sell point.
This was $20. I think it would do better.
I think that $20 would also make sense. I also think that first month of Game Pass. My question is, not Game Pass, PlayStation Plus Game of the Month. I think doesn't help their numbers, and obviously I'm thinking through the numbers. PlayStation Plus Essential, I think, would be a really great spot for this game. The way that it released with Stray, like Stray was a PlayStation Plus Essential. Extra, yeah. Sorry, Essential is. Yes,
Essential's the base. Extra.
Yes.
I disagree. It needs to be free for everybody with PlayStation Plus. There's so many more people on
I know.
Essential.
I just don't know how you make the money.
An audience. It's for 1 month.
I know. But
then you make your money after that. Rocket League became a phenomenon. Fall Guys became a phenomenon because it was free in the first month on PlayStation Plus.
So here's the thing. It works if the game is fun after the fact.
And I think this game is fun if the game modes like we suspect are there that are good, that they don't have available right now. I think if those are what we think that they are, and it is free in the first month, and you get an audience and you get good word of mouth, then you can sell the game for $40 after that and make your money.
So wait, are you saying that, okay, is that a trial period then, or do you get the download forever?
You get the download forever. But you did that with Rocket League too.
I just don't know if anyone's buying skins for Lynx or Lennox.
It doesn't need. They don't need to. In the first month, you need an audience. That's all you need.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're not gonna. Nobody's buying this game anyways.
If
They're not making their money back off of sales. They are not this point. At this point right now, nobody's buying this game.
But I'm saying that if the game modes are deliver the goods,
yes.
do you think that makes money off sales?
No.
Oh, really? Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay. I do think it does. That's where I'm at. If those game modes delivers, I think that you'll get enough of a player base based off.
And
of
they
word
don't
of
want
mouth.
to. And they don't want to make their money. They just make their money back. They want to make money
Yeah, I know.
to make the next game or support the game, and that's not going to happen with this game, dude. Like
It's gonna be interesting.
I've been around long enough.
Yeah.
This is Battleborn. Has Battleborn written all over
I
it.
don't even know what the fuck Battleborn is.
It's a Gearbox game that's a hero shooter that came out right around Overwatch and got fucking cooked.
I think it's gonna be interesting because I do think that there is, if those modes deliver, I think that this is a $40 product, and I think that PlayStation believes it's a $40 product. It's but obviously, guess what? That's a value proposition that PlayStation's putting out. Let's see what the consumer thinks when it happens, and because if I currently would not spend $40 on this game, if those modes deliver, I could be convinced to spend $40 on the game.
Right.
That's where I'm at. And I think that when you're talking about all that fucking matters with this game is day one. What's the conversation day one? Is everyone saying fucking buy it, fucking buy it, fucking buy it? And if they're not, it's cooked.
But nobody's going to be saying fucking buy it because nobody's going to buy it themselves, is what I'm saying.
But if the open beta, I don't know if there's been a more important open beta in the past 5 years. Because this is a PlayStation's live service model fully
It's basically
either working
open.
or not.
It's basically open right now, though, with the PlayStation Plus thing. It's the game mode.
It's the game modes, exactly.
Yeah. So we'll see.
It's gonna be this. Like Connor said last night on stream, is like the best part of this game is gonna be the discussion aspect of it because it's gonna be really interesting. This is a super interesting game where we're now on the second PlayStation Live Service game. They knocked it out of the park the first time around.
But let's be real. This Helldivers and Concord and Fair Games there's a split there. Helldivers was already a known quantity. It was a known IP. They've already proved it once. Helldivers 1 has a good score. People like Helldivers 1.
But I'm talking about nobody. If you asked
this is
anyone,
a budget game. It's a second party game. This is a first party game.
Yep.
Different story.
True.
People and like I said, Helldivers looked good in previews beforehand. People already hate Concord and already hate Fair Games from the
previews,
trailers.
though, the trailers. But for the previews that we've seen, most people are even higher than I think me.
We aren't, but the general consumer is looking at previews. The general consumer is watching. I mean, even that, but like more people are watching a trailer than watching IGN's preview.
I know, but most people are seeing about this game day one on TikTok. That's the whole thing. Will there be somebody on TikTok that's like, you need to fucking buy Concord. Here's why. It's a ton of fun. Hop in with your friends. It's not $70. That's the other thing. Like, free to play makes a sense because it's legitimately free to play and everyone knows what that is and how money works and microtransactions. You don't need to pick it up unless you want to and whether it's deserved or not. But it's also on the other side. This game is not $70. $40 is less of it's a less of a push.
I think it's the right price if it was great.
And I think that we can see greatness this upcoming weekend. And that's exciting for me. But I also am at the point with it where tonight I want to play more, but I'd rather go and play Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Alrighty, let's get into the last section of this here podcast. We're talking about DS games draft.
How long have we gone for? I'm just curious.
Hour and a half.
Oh, nice. You guys like the long podcasts, and we're doing them.
All right. I think, do you know who goes first here? I have no idea.
I'm taking the first pick.
Okay. So you're introing it? Mm-hmm. Let me intro it and I'll throw it over to you.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep. Today, we are drafting Nintendo DS games, and Nick has the first overall pick. What are we going with?
I'm going to choose Mario Kart DS. Dog, like this might be the easiest 101 I've ever had. Connor just asked before this started, who has the first pick? And I just go, me. I don't know if I'm supposed to based off of the last draft. We normally go back and forth. Mario Kart DS is the DS. It is everyone coming together on the bus trying to get in the lobbies together and play Mario Kart DS. When you're by yourself, it's the perfect thing to go, flip open, play a quick 4 races, and move on with your day. It is amazing. I love Mario Kart DS. I think that is one of the best handheld games ever. Mario Kart DS was my first pick.
With my first pick, I'm going to pick Pokemon Heart Gold / Soul Silver. A lot of people think that this is the quintessential best Pokemon game still to this day. It's very expensive to own now, but I do own me a copy of Soul Silver. I love these. You get 2 gens in one here. Being able to go back to Kanto, super cool. So yeah, Pokemon Soul Silver with my first pick. With my second pick, we're going to go with Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. I'm playing Superstars right now. It's a ton of fun. This series has a ton of charm and is super unique in the Mario series. Mario and Luigi, Essential Mario, and people say that Inside Story is the best of the best. So yeah, that's my second pick.
With my pick, I'm going to choose New Super Mario Bros. For the DS. We said like no ports, but this is a weird one, obviously. It's awesome. This game is freaking awesome. Like, it is just a great platformer on the go. That's going to be my second pick. Oh, I can go into a couple different places. But I'm going to choose a game for an amazing creator on this app named Tarji. Rhythm Heaven, baby. I love me some good rhythm games. I haven't gotten my hands on this one, but who doesn't want a great rhythm game on the go? Rhythm Heaven was my third pick.
Good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that written down too. With my third pick, I'm going to go with Animal Crossing Wild World. I love this series, and I think that simplicity is key to keeping Animal Crossing feeling like it should. I think New Leaf is the perfect balance, but Wild World still has a lot of merit nowadays. I love Wild World. So yeah, Wild World with my third pick. Crap. So many directions to go in here. There's so many. There's going to be a lot of honorable mentions, but I got
Same.
3 of my top 4. So
I have 2 of my top 2.
crap. With my fourth pick, I'm going to go with The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass, a game that I have not gotten to personally, but people say this is the best one on the DS. I really would like to get to this at some point because I love the art style, love the art direction, and I love me some classic Zelda. So Phantom Hourglass with my fourth pick.
For me, I'm choosing a personal one with my fourth pick. I'm going to go with Pokemon Diamond and Pearl.
Wow.
These are my favorite Pokemon games. This was just what I grew up on. Like, I know that there's a lot of people around my age that are like, this was the shit. And it was a great, great Pokemon game. So I'm going to choose that with my number 4. I know that you got the better on the DS, but yeah. I want Pokemon on my team.
A lot of good on the DS. Black and White and Black and White 2.
Yeah.
Like, people think Black and White 2 are like some of the best of the best. So.
But like I said, I'm just choosing my personal favorite with this pick because why not? And with my last pick, I'm choosing Nintendogs, baby.
Oh,
like,
nice.
Let's be real. This game is adorable to all ends. Everyone loved hanging out with their Nintendogs, putting them in competitions, taking care of them, giving them baths, doing the whole 9 yards. Like, this is what made me a dog person, I'm pretty sure. Like, we had a dog, but I think I enjoyed my Nintendogs even as much as my real life dog as a child. So, yeah, give me Nintendogs with my last pick. And I really like my team. Like, I think that my team is just what I played on the DS and I had the most fun with. And then there's Rhythm Heaven that shout out Tarji.
I went with like what I think is the best of the best. This is definitely not a personal list for sure here because like if it was personal, I would probably have 358 over 2 days on here. I thought about doing that for my last pick, but I'm not going to. But I am going to stick with Square Enix because I'm going to pick The World Ends With You, a game made from the ground up for the Nintendo DS. Tetsuya Nomura in his bag, making a wacky, weird world in The World Ends With You. I think this game is so cool, so underrated. Play it if you haven't. Get to it. That's the draft.
I got WarioWare Touched
Same.
and also DIY. 2 great mini games. Like when I think of the DS, I think about those quick. I got 15, 20 minutes before an appointment as a child or like whatever, just like trying to like have some fun on the bus for 25 minutes before school or right after school waiting to get like picked up or whatever. That's what the DS for me is just quick fun experiences, and WarioWare does it very well. I also had Scribblenauts on there.
So underrated.
Scribblenauts is so underrated. It's a great game and also just works with what you're given. You have the stylus, you're able to have a great time with Scribblenauts. It's awesome. And then I also had Metroid Pinball on there. Metroid Prime Pinball. Once again, personal list. I could have ended up taking it if you took something like. You would have to take a lot of the games that I chose.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a world where it's coming in my top 10. But I really enjoyed Metroid Prime Pinball. It was something that got me into Metroid for the first time, let me see what that world was like. And Metroid allows you to be a ball, and it's like, well, why don't we just make this a really fun arcadey experience too? So those are some of my honorable mentions.
I had Elite Beat Agents on there, another rhythm game made by the same developer who made Guitaru Man, one of my favorite games of all time. So I thought about picking that. Shout out to Brain Age. You remember Brain Age, Nick? Doing some quick maths.
Quick maths, dude?
Out here, dude. Like
7 plus 4 is 11,
yeah,
dude?
like you're like against the clock and you're just writing in math equations. Like I thought it was super fun. I don't know why I had so much fun with it, but I sunk a lot of time into it. I had Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney on there, another series. That and Professor Layton are very similarly coded in my mind, but and I'm sure they're very different. But I want to play those games at some point for sure.
Outer Wilds and Firewatch, Connor. I get there's certain things that just hit the same part of the brain.
358 over 2 days, I think, is one of the best Kingdom Hearts games of all time. Just absolutely tragic, so good. Maybe the best story in the series. I love it.
Do you have any other honorable mentions you want to
that's
do?
it.
So I got a question for you. So I know all of Kingdom Hearts 1 story very well at this point. Do I need to do any cutscene homework before I hop into 2? Because Matt Lucid and I were talking about it. He's like, are you going to do some extra homework? And I was like, probably not.
Do you know the events of Chain of Memories?
I don't think I do.
I can give you like a rundown real fast. It's very basic. I'm not right now. I don't wanna spoil it.
I was about to say, are we closing out this pod with 10 minutes of Chain of Memories? I might just watch all the cutscenes of it this week.
It'll take like 6 hours.
I got time.
You need to watch the ending of there's some context, but yeah, you should just get the cliff notes for Chain of Memories. Though I think Chain of Memories story is great. And
what is it on?
Game Boy,
Game Boy?
and
Yeah.
well, so it was originally on Game Boy with like sprites and everything, and they remade it for the PS2 with the character models from like Kingdom Hearts 1.
Oh, nice.
So like it's a full 3D game, which is Chain of Memories. Is that on the wall? Did I bring that today?
Oh no,
I thought about it.
I don't see it.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Can we talk about how good Pokemon Arceus is real quick? What a great game.
Yeah.
Remember when
It's the
people...
best Pokemon.
What?
It's the best Pokemon on the Switch.
Yeah, I agree. Remember when people were just like counterpicking it on Fantasy Critic?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be good because
Yeah.
it looked like it ran at 2 frames a second. And
it doesn't matter on the Switch, baby. It's still a good game.
And then 358 over 2 days came out after Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yep.
But in the collection, it is placed before because it is set before Kingdom Hearts 2.
Okay. Cool beans.
But so you can watch that technically. I think it's more effective to not watch it before Kingdom Hearts 2 necessarily, but I think it's always good to just do it in release order.
By the way, this is a fun little Connor story. He had a poster of 358 over 2 days in his room growing up, and that poster was sick as fuck.
Oh yeah, it's badass. I had that as my like computer background for like a long time too. The box art for
What's your current computer background?
Kingdom Hearts 3. Actually, it's Remind. The Remind picture with Sora and Kairi.
That's also your phone background, right?
It has been Kingdom Hearts 3's cover art is. So it's how do I change it? Actually?
I have my phone background is James Murphy singing from the first time I saw them at LC Sound System
So
play.
that's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then my other background is the old logo for the old channel.
You should change it to the new one.
I know. I like that. Like, it's for me small beginnings type of deal where
Right.
it's like I've come a long way since that first logo and everything, and it's a good reminder that like a lot of hard work has gone into this, and it's going to take a lot more hard work to continue doing this. So
My back hurts. Sitting in
yeah,
one
from
chair.
carrying this podcast,
Yeah.
dude, from just fucking murdering it.
Uh-huh.
Really, really fun podcast
Yeah,
today.
as always. Just a reminder, Twitch streams Monday through Thursday, 7 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. Extra Life coming up August 3rd. Discord and merch in the link in the bio on TikTok. Thank you guys so much for joining us this week. Have a good one. Peace out.